Okay, because I think that's, and it sort of flows into what you're saying, Cheeraz, as well, which I see in the agencies, and it is a major problem. If you even look at schools, you know, you walk into the cafeteria of a high school, you have a group of black kids sitting to the left and all the white kids to the right, and that still happens to this day. As much as we think there's integration, there isn't, and that isn't because of the white kids, and that isn't because of the black kids, it's because of the administration, it's because of the teachers, it's because of what's going on in schools. So just the same, I agree with you, Cheeraz, that in the advertising agencies, and I do see this, sadly, and may now get fired by every client I've got, but I do think they're not ingratiating. I don't think they're educated enough to understand how to integrate different cultures and to welcome black people into the community of advertising and marketing. And I think that is a major, major issue, and I agree with you. And just to say, that sort of goes back into, I have a tremendous heartfelt drive to the other side of it, which is the schooling, education. I'm particularly personally interested in high school education. I actually think by the time they get to college, the black people get to college, it's too late. And I think that if you really understand the black community, black people, and I'm sorry to separate it, and I might get a lawyer down my throat now, but, you know, Jimmy's one of my dear friends, and my feeling about the black community is that they evolve much faster than we do, because they've had to. And I think that's something that we haven't really looked into. So if you go inside a high school, and you talk to black kids, a 13-year-old black kid is like an 18-year-old white kid. A 10-year-old black kid is like a 15-year-old white kid. When I say they're more evolved, they've experienced much more sooner than we have. And that's what I mean, JB, okay? They've experienced much more sooner. So they're actually ready to be indoctrinated earlier than we are as white people. So my feeling is that we're not hitting the right level of student, you know, we're hitting all the colleges all the time, or possibly sometimes, we actually need to get to kids in sophomore and junior year. We need to get to the 15 and 16-year-old black kids who are not getting the support of their teacher community as much as they should be, who maybe are not able to get the support from their parents and their communities because they're not educated to the opportunities that we have for them. We need to get inside the high schools and talk to those children and allow them to believe in other things other than sports, rap, poetry. I'm all for that, Jimmy, but actually, what I'm much more for is the integration of the black community into everything they're able to get into, not just what's obvious. Do you know what I mean? So, go ahead.
We're sharing one.
Yeah, and actually...
Sorry.
That's
we must
okay.
have another one that works.
Yeah, we gotta
Here,
find one.
I'll do the technology while you talk.
Okay. And you know, I agree, but then I have to disagree on the point that in order for a school-age child to feel as though that they have a place within an environment, they need to see that they are represented. And being a black woman in advertising, I can tell you, baby, it is slim pickings out there and seeing us. Especially when you start looking into the senior ranks. You know, I had a very blessed and fortunate situation where I proudly started off my career at Morehouse Communications, which is owned by 2 black women. 3 of my creative directors were black females. So I did not come into this industry with a disenfranchised point of view of how far I could actually go. However, when I went into the world of general market, totally different situation. I am so horribly underrepresented as a black woman that there really is no incentive for me to stay within an industry because guess what? A lot of times I was completely misunderstood. I had a lot of butting of heads. And then also, speaking to your point about understanding culture and people not recognizing their own implicit racism. Case in point, I had a client who shall remain nameless, where we presented radio scripts over the phone. Now, this situation, we were specifically writing to target African American women 27 to 35. And he had already read the scripts, said that he didn't need us to present them because guess what? They weren't too black to run anyplace else. None of my team members in the room reacted. He proceeded to say something else that was pretty flagrant towards black women. And I said, you know what, it's interesting that you say that because I'm a 31-year-old, at that time, I'm a 31-year-old black female. I am retarded. Silence. Thank God the brother went on mute. Who gonna go on mute after a comment? Let's be real, everybody all tense and shit. I can say racism, implicit racism, white privilege, and everybody like, breathe. It's okay. We're just being honest with each other. So when we start looking at those things in our industry, whether if it's on, and we need to start checking our clients too, agency people. So it's not just on the agency side, but it's also on the client side. So there's so much education that needs to happen, and I agree that it needs to start with school-age children. But you mean to tell me the only black senior people we can find is like Jimmy and Donald Lamar and Lewis Williams? We got like and JD and just a handful of senior people? Our children have no encouragement. Even the young black people that come into the industry, where is their encouragement going to come from?
I agree with you completely, except for, you're looking at a much bigger problem, because the problem you're stating is the problem that exists. Forget advertising. It exists in schools, it exists in all corporations, it exists everywhere. This is so huge, right? That, where do you start? So there comes a point where you've got to say to yourself, as Jimmy said coming into this, what the fuck are we going to do? What, are we going to come out of this with something now? So we have to look at what can we do now. I agree with you, 1,000%. It's huge, it's beyond us in many ways, but we've got to do baby steps. So, no, we don't have lots of black people in advertising. Hello? That's the problem. We don't. We certainly don't have lots of Jimmys. No, we don't. They don't exist. I could go to any agency and maybe pluck out one. I could go into an agency of 3,000 people and pluck out one. That's a fact. We're in that situation. So, sadly, to our chagrin, you do not have representation. You don't. So what's the second best thing? We have to look at the second best thing. If we don't, then all we're going to do is stand on our soapboxes and just continue in this cycle of, the demise of the situation. We have to think positive. So what can we do? Tell you what we can do. We can make friends with black people. We can share time with black people. We can welcome black people into our environment and do what the fuck we can do to bring them in. And I said to Jeff, you're doing this thing tonight, well, put your money where your mouth is. Get a bunch of kids every summer from May until September. Get 20, 25 interns, all black. Get them into Goodby. Pay for them, pay for their board, we can afford it. We're not broke. We're rich. We're very rich. So we are. We're extremely well off. And we have the money. We spend enough. The money we spend on limousines can pay for 25 interns a year. You want the black community to look at the white community better? Put your money where your mouth is. That's what I